Hello, this is our radio 1 o'clock news. First, here are the headlines. The head of a UN mission in the country says the delay in implementing the 2018 peace deal has caused political defections and communal violence in the country. The Minister of General Education and Instruction in Western Equatoria State has warned of serious measurements against parents keeping children out of school. And the St. Egidio community has conveyed an induction training for representatives of parties to the Rome peace talks on a common understanding of their obligation to the ceasefire agreement signed in December 2017. These stories and more coming to you in this news bulletin with me, Kafuki Jada. Now the news in details. The body of the former managing director of the Nile Petroleum Corporation was flown to his hometown in Ruweng administrative area for burial today. Engineer Paul Adong died under mysterious circumstances at a Dubai hotel on 18th June, allegedly after a short illness. Last week, a family member confirmed he had traveled to Dubai in the United Arab Emirates 2 weeks ago after developing an abdominal complication. The late engineer oversaw an environmental audit project in the petroleum sector before his death. Speaking during a requiem mass yesterday, the petroleum minister, Poth Kang Chol, says Adong's demise has left a huge gap in the oil sector.
It has left a very big space, not only in our heart, but in the sector, the petroleum sector. We will miss him. And to us today, as I was speaking to you, it has taken us back because there was a very, very big project that we have started. And we gave him responsibility to supervise it on our behalf, all of us, the people of South Sudan, and that is the environmental audit.
Paul Adong was 57 and married with 3 kids. He was the pioneer and managing director of the National Petroleum Company until he was sacked in 2015. The lead was replaced by Joseph Cleto Deng, who was later removed in a presidential degree. After his dismissal, the deceased was transferred to the Ministry of Petroleum and Mining, where he served briefly before establishing a private oil and gas company. The fact-finding committee formed to investigate the killing of 3 civilians in Kejukeji County has presented its findings to the governor of Central Equatoria State. 2 teenage cousins, Iyamba Luminisuk and Justin Losika, Luminisuk, 16 years of age, and Yiga Wani, 3, were killed by SSPDF soldiers in Kiriboma of Kejukeji County more than a month ago. This occurred when unnamed soldiers searching for their body of their colleague allegedly executed them in cold blood after they volunteered to show them the body of the deceased. Following the incident, the governor formed a five-member security committee to lead an independent investigation into the killing. The committee was formed upon the demand of both the National Assembly and SSPDF Chief of Defense, who approved the formation of the fact-finding committee into the incident. The investigation team was tasked to independently investigate the circumstances surrounding the incident. Last week, the committee members traveled to the area to collect pieces of evidence and information about the killing. Yesterday, the team handed over its results to the governor, Emmanuel Adil. The deputy chairman of the committee spoke to the media following meetings with the governor. According to the deputy chairman of the committee, the team traveled to Kejukeji to get the first-hand information about the killing.
deputy chair of the high-level committee was formed by the governor to go and investigate incidents of KG, the cause of killing of one other civilian custodian and the 3 civilians. We have just briefed and we compiled the report, and the details is already in the hands of the governor. That's why we are coming here to inform the public that we have to complete the mission correctly and successfully.
For his part, the press secretary in the office of the governor says the leadership has commended the commitment's work. Derrickson spoke to the media yesterday.
The committee briefed the leadership on their comprehensive findings, which His Excellency Emmanuel Anthony assured them of his government's political will to ensure that immediate action is taken as per this incident, and justice will be given or will be served to the families of all these barbaric incidents that happened in Kenya. And the governor commended the committee for their swift intervention into these findings and encouraged them that the leadership will continue engaging the relevant authorities to see to it that their recommendations and the observations are taken into immediate action.
However, neither the deputy chair or of the committee nor the press secretary revealed the content of the findings of the investigation. It's yet to be known what steps would have been taken after the report was delivered to the governor. iRadio could not obtain a copy of the findings of the committee's investigation. The head of the UN mission in South Sudan says delays in the peace implementation is to blame for the rise in political defections and communal violence in the country. Nicholas Haysom says the level of sub-national violence is because of a growing frustration among the citizens towards the peace agreement. According to Haysom, 80% of civilian casualties this year is attributed to communal violence and community-based militaries. He says the increase in violence is fueling divisions and hampering reconciliations among communities.
The impact of delays, however, is manifested in growing frustration across the country. Political defections are on the rise, and I am concerned that the scale of subnational violence is surging. It's spread from north to south, from east to west. And on that note, I condemn in the strongest terms the violence in eastern and central Equatoria, Unity, Warrap and Yongle states, as well as around the Abyei administrative area. This year, more than 80% of civilian casualties have been attributed to intercommunal violence and community-based militias. This violence stokes divisions and hampers reconciliation efforts. I'm deeply troubled by reports that sexual and gender-based violence have surged exponentially, on some accounts rising by as much as 500% since the last time we reported.
Haysom also expressed concerns over increased cases of sexual and gender-based violence in the country.
I'm deeply troubled by reports that sexual and gender-based violence have surged exponentially, on some accounts rising by as much as 500% since the last time we reported.
The UN's boss thinks that expediting implementation of the peace agreement will put to an end the violent conflict and human rights abuses. The body of the former managing director of Nile Petroleum Corporation was flown to his hometown in Ruang administrative area for burial today. Engineer Paul Adong died under mysterious circumstances at Dubai Hotel at 18th of June, allegedly after a short illness. You are listening to iRadio News, and now to the international news brought to you by MTN. My colleague joins us.
Freedom is everyone's desire. Freedom is what makes you and me happy. Freedom is called Hurea in my country. My telecom network has chosen to give me freedom. MTN is my network. I have the freedom. I choose affordable and reliable. Hooray Bundles is my way. MTN introduces to you Hooray Bundles, giving you the freedom to call across all networks with the SIM bundles. Subscribe by dialing *100 *3 *4 hash and get 15 minutes for only 100 SSB and 30 minutes for 150 SSB, valid for 1 day. Hooray, pure freedom. MTN, everywhere you go.
Welcome for the international news. The UN says its investigators have started a probe into the recent mass killings of ethnic minorities in western Ethiopia. More than 330 people were killed in the attacks earlier last month in remote farming villages inhabited by Amhara community, according to government figures. The attacks were blamed by authorities and survivors on the armed group of Oromo Liberation Army, but the group dismissed the accusations. Elsewhere, in South Africa, 4 people in East London town remain in critical condition after attending a party that turned tragic. The Eastern Cape Premier's office tells CNN that the 4 remains under observation in hospital and authorities are waiting to question them. 5 bodies are still unidentified after Sunday morning's incident, which left 22 young people dead. Finally, the Chinese leader mounted a stern defense on the political system in a speech in Hong Kong, following recent international criticism. Hong Kong is marking 25 years since Britain returned the city to China. It is under tight security as it hosts Mr. Jinping, who is on his first trip outside of the mainland in 2 years. Under one country, 2 systems, Hong Kong is supposed to be governed in a way that gives it a high degree of autonomy and protects freedom of speech and assembly and other rights not found in mainland China.
You are listening to our radio news, and now to the sports news. My colleague Jacob Omoyo joins us.
Good afternoon. South Sudan will face Rwanda in the first round of FIBA Basketball World Cup qualifiers in Kigali at 6 p.m. Central African Time. 16 African teams will compete in the FIBA Basketball World Cup 2023 African qualifiers through 5 tournament windows over 15 months. The qualifiers run from November 2021 to February 2023, with 5 African national teams earning a spot in the FIBA Basketball World Cup 2023 that's scheduled to take place from August 25th to September 10th, 2023 in Japan, Indonesia, and the Philippines. In athletics, Great Britain's Dana Asher-Smith held on to claim a morale-boosting 200 meters win in the Diamond League on Thursday. The 200 meters world champion, who will defend her title in Oregon next month, was a surprise second to Daryl Nater over 100 meters at the UK Championships. But Asher-Smith, 26, ran 22.364 seconds in Stockholm to edge out Switzerland's Mujinga Kambunji, 22.367. That was enough to finish ahead of Ukraine's Marina Bek-Romanchuk, 6.76 meters, and Sweden's Kadi Sagnia, 6.74. And in tennis, British wildcard Katie Boulter delighted Wimbledon centre court with a stunning fight back to beat 2021 runner-up Karolina Pliskova. After a 3-6, 7-6, 6-4 win, Boulter fought back tears when revealing her grandchild died 2 years ago. "I am going to get so emotional. I would like to dedicate it to her," she said after securing her best Grand Slam run. End of iRadio Sports News, and back to you, my colleague in the studio.
You are listening to our radio news, and now to end this bulletin, here are the headlines again. The head of the UN mission in the country says that the delay in implementing the 2018 peace deal has caused political defections and communal violence in the country. The Minister of General Education and Instruction in Western Equatoria State has warned of serious measures against parents keeping children out of school. And the St. Egidio community has convened an induction training for representatives of parties to the Rome peace talks on a common understanding of their obligation to the ceasefire agreement signed in December 2017. That's the end of iRadio Afternoon News. You can get these stories and updates by subscribing to iRadio News Alerts on your MTN South Sudan number. Call 700 or dial star 700 hash and follow the instructions. If there's a story or any event you would like iRadio to cover or report about, please send us a text message on +211 925 287-870. It's also our WhatsApp number. You can also follow us on Twitter at iRadio Juba, like our Facebook page, iRadio, subscribe to our YouTube channel at iRadio South Sudan. You can also visit our website and listen to us online at www.iradio.org. Stay tuned for the news in Arabic at 1/2 past the hour. I am Kafuki Jada. Thanks for listening.